Ah, the holidays. My favorite time of year. There's nothing quite like them. Don't you think, Iseth?
What a pleasant season.
The festive atmosphere, the aura of goodwill and merriment that permeates the air. There's no better time than now to put our differences aside and celebrate our shared humanity.
What exactly are white people superior at?
Oh, well, according to television, everything.
Oh God! Oh God, what is that?
A white man could fly. Even a white woman, she could be 4'1". She knew karate. She could take down 15 people.
No, not this year. No, you keep your propaganda away from me, no! Iseth, get the guns. I said get the guns, we need to save Christmas!
What are white people superior at?
Interbreeding with black people. Propagation of horrible clothing styles.
Man.
Spreading wacky dogmas. Pretty sure Arabs beat them to that. Tolerance of homosexuality. At least in the western part of white. Food production optimization. Propagation of horrible... No, we had it already. Propagation of horrible hairstyles. Combination of everything that was said before. The ability to spot that your deodorant is failing you right now wasn't actually that hard.
Either these interviewees were given prep as to what the nature of this interview was going to be, and thus all of this head-tilting is just theatrics on their part, or they weren't given prep, and these are their genuine first reactions. And as far as first reactions go, I find it a bit peculiar just how nonchalant they are. They aren't off-put or surprised by the nature of the question, and they don't show any outward signs of being suspicious of the motives of the asker. They're genuinely straining to come up with an answer and coming up short. And I suspect the reason they're comfortable exploring this topic is because, either consciously or subconsciously, they know they can't give a wrong answer. After all, racism is a one-way street. It is something that white people do to black people, and not the other way around. They don't need to fear any serious social repercussions for answering that question. If I, on the other hand, were to answer that question, there are definite wrong answers for me to give. Answers that would lead to me being labeled as a white supremacist, and having my livelihood and the livelihoods of anyone who associated with me put in jeopardy. In fact, that's probably the case for any answer I give, other than an explicit denunciation of white supremacy, and even that is likely insufficient.
You know, that is one interpretation. Another could be that they feel comfortable and are not taken aback by the question because it fits their belief system. In other words, they don't have a "what the fuck" reaction because they're all white supremacists.
Oh God.
That's the reaction I would expect someone to give immediately upon stepping in shit. If merely entertaining the notion that other groups of people might be better at things than your group of people leads to such a viscerally negative response, might that be a sign of insecurity? I wonder what future responses to this question there might be.
Again, that can be one interpretation. Another would be that she's thinking, shit, did they get a hold of my browsing history? Hopefully they didn't find Justin Bieber yaoi. Oh no! Also, you're welcome for that imagery, audience.
What are white people superior at?
I have to confess, even though we have this reaction for very different reasons, I did have the same reaction. White people, the monolith. It just cracks me up every time I hear it. I mean, seriously, how can you put something like me in the same category as Frenchy white? Those people eat snails, have to patchwork together 20 sentences in order to get the number 70. 90. And they are the producers of cuties. I'm sorry, but I'm objectively superior to that?
They just keep talking, mostly about their pets.
White people love their dogs. Like, that's all you see.
Cats, letting them get on your countertops while you're cooking. Yes.
I get that you love your pet, but like you need to take it everywhere, like everywhere. I guess, hey, emotional support animals, I guess.
The question was, what are white people superior at? And your response was, they have pets. Well, I think I might have found one thing white people are superior at, and it's listening comprehension.
Yeah, listening. Although, playing devil's advocate here for a moment, considering that the domestication of dogs is one of the first things in human history that led to massive life quality improvement, if they claim that white people are superior at taking care of their pets, that could genuinely be considered a sign of superiority. I mean, I would not agree with it, but then again, I don't have an admission interview with the KKK today. That's what it is, right?
What exactly are white people superior at?
Fuck, man, like making cereal?
Casseroles.
What kind of casserole?
Tuna. It's always tuna. What do you mean? It's always tuna.
What are black people superior at? Fuck, man, I don't know. Kool-Aid? What kind of Kool-Aid? Watermelon? Of course it's always watermelon. I wonder what those people would say in response to what I just said.
Swiss chocolate, Belgian chocolate, Dutch chocolate, Austrian chocolate, Sacher, tiramisu, Toblerone, and tuna. Among all the tasty stuff they could have named, they all ended up with tuna sandwich. I mean, it just shows you how little they know about foreign cultures. But then again, what do you expect from some ill-educated rednecks? Jokes aside, I don't have a problem with a bit of racism banter, because, quite frankly, I'm not made of cardboard. What I do have an issue with is that they don't reciprocate and get a heart attack for everything that reminds them even remotely of what they look like to other people. Which makes you wonder why.
Using mayonnaise in a lot of their recipes.
I don't know how to ask this, but is that even a black person? Fuck, maybe that's another thing white people are superior at. Infiltration. We're among you and you don't even know.
Hey, be considerate. Trans black are black people too.
Making bland food.
Unseasoned chicken.
How you gonna start whole spice wars and don't even use seasoning on your food? I mean, come on.
Wait, what? You find bland food superior to spicy food? What's wrong with you? What have they done to your taste buds, man?
What exactly are white people superior at?
Smelling funky. Santa Claus. Extreme water sport.
That's not fair. Germans skew the average. Also, what the fuck? Did you just say we're better at Santa Claus?
You know, Auntie, where I come from, we have a 99.9% beige white population. And there is no Santa whatsoever. I feel deprived of my privilege. Seriously, I want a Santa.
Corn mazes.
White people are great at having fun. That's a function of white supremacy because they just don't have as many stresses as we do.
Don't make excuses for your inability to have fun. And how poorly they have to think of non-white people to assume that they are all unable to have fun as much as you do. Seriously, this video is a joke. If you ever wanted to convince someone that white people are superior, this would probably be the propaganda flick that you would offer them.
White people are very superior at their privilege and utilizing it. We do not have the privilege to do whatever and however we want to.
Because of privilege, white people can do as they'd like. So if, en masse, all over the world, people of all races gathered under the banner of White Lives Matter, taking to the streets, leaving behind plundered buildings and burning cars in their wake, would the mainstream media have the charity to call these protests mostly peaceful? Would governments all over the world make exceptions to their quarantines for these specific types of public gatherings? And if an observer objected to the behavior of these multiracial rioters, would their friends and family respond to them with, "You're an anti-white bigot, the beneficiaries of this treatment most certainly would be privileged, wouldn't they?
Huh. White people are good at having privilege? As in, they don't spend all of it mindlessly on sneakers and fancy clothes, but save it up instead? Don't be bitter about it. You gotta understand. These poor whiteys just can't help it. They would love to waste it on fancy cars, massive fake gold chains, and expensive clothes. But they just don't want to be insensitive and copy your absolutely rich and qualitatively high, unique culture. And so they just end up wearing cheap and practical stuff and wasting money on lasting things that you can pass on to your kids, perhaps. It's kind of all they can do, to be honest. Kind of makes you pity them, doesn't it? But hey, if you feel like that is superior, we don't have absolutely any issue whatsoever with you culturally appropriating us. If you want to give our strategy a go, be our guest.
What exactly are white people superior at?
Not getting arrested.
You wouldn't believe the trick to that one. It's not committing so many crimes.
I was driving down the street down the highway with a friend of mine who was white, and he was like, I'm just want to pull over and pee. And I'm in the passenger seat. And I was like, please don't. Because a black man thinks differently. If I pull over to the side of the road and pee, a cop is going to be right behind me to punish me.
You see, a black man thinks differently. He thinks, I shouldn't commit this crime, or I'll get arrested. Then why do you commit so many crimes? Oh, fuck. Oh, Iseth, I'm so sorry for roping you into this.
Yeah, you be sorry. You be sorry, Auntie. This is so brutally mean that I feel compelled to share the white privilege pee secret. Listen, guys. The trick is to not pee in towns or where there is a lot of population, to not pee on busy roads, to go somewhere in not visible places, to not pee in visible places or right in front of police cars, and no matter what you do, never use a car that has been reported as stolen when you have to stop and go to pee. It just doesn't work out, ever. That's all there is. It's really not that hard.
What exactly are white people superior at?
Insecurity, pretending,
fear,
being fearful of nothing, being ignorant,
blame,
letting their egos control their every move.
Throughout the course of attributing all of your life's problems to whites, you have the audacity to say that whites are better at blame, insecurity, pretending, and playing the victim. I don't know whether or not you're good at it, but you know what you're doing quite a lot of.
Gaslighting?
Well, I was going to say projection, but that works just as well. Motherfucker.
Privilege.
Feeling victimized.
Playing the victim.
Congratulating themselves over shit that they're incompetent at or that should have already been done.
They're superior at being dicks.
Superior at being dicks? Gee, how big is your... No, don't tell me, I don't want to know. Use a mannequin head, you pervert. I have to say though, these last few people are very eye-opening, to be honest. It seems to me that the more diluted their proud ancestry gets, the more they seem to dislike white people. Is that a coping mechanism? A compensation thing? Kind of like the guys with small procreation utensils buy big cars and stuff? I mean, I totally get the sentiment. I too would love to exchange my white foreigner privilege with First Nation heritage. Even just a quarter would suffice. Just a tinge. I mean, it would increase my income by 30% overnight without moving a finger. But unfortunately, I cannot get any darker, and nor can they. Being upset at white people because you are nearly there just doesn't help you. It just won't fix your problem.
What exactly are white people superior at?
Oppression.
Lack of empathy.
Hold on there. How exactly can white people lack empathy while having this massive, huge amount of ridiculous empathy for pets at the same time? I think there is clearly a flaw in your hypothesis. Sister.
Intellectualizing oppression.
Is intellectualizing oppression when we think about it for a moment and conclude we aren't oppressing you?
Did I say oppression? They're just creatively thinking of new ways of like always staying one step ahead of other people. We get rid of slave catchers, then let's just expand the police force. Like, that stuff to me is wild.
I take it back. That's intellectualizing oppression. I can scarcely imagine the mental gymnastics necessary to be sitting in the middle of a metropolitan office building speaking to a media company and analogizing your situation to that of literal slaves. Incidentally, you would never believe what I'm in favor of. Diminishing the role of government, the institution currently in charge of the police. In fact, I suspect many of your woes would be alleviated were it not for the warped incentives caused by the presence of government on the creation of laws. So tell me, what do you think of capitalism, free markets, and limited or no government? You think that's white people trying to dodge their responsibility to pay reparations. You like big government, because that's how you get affirmative action, expansive social programs, and high taxes on the wealthy. Well, an expansive police force, the thing you're complaining about, is the consequence of an expansive government.
Now that I think about it, white neighborhoods do have a privilege. The privilege of confident police officers, for a start. Actual Justice Warrior broke that down very, very thoroughly in one of his last videos. If a place has an increased crime rate, that place tends to get poorer and poorer and poorer over time, because it chases out the people who have money since they don't want to lose their belongings. So if you live in a predominantly white neighborhood, the criminals tend to be more often than not white as well. And since there are no repercussions to deal with white criminals, police doesn't have much of a problem to deal with them and removes them quite quickly and quite thoroughly, keeping the criminality pretty low. However, if you live in a predominantly non-white area, the police is much more reluctant, especially when the police officers happen to be white. And because criminals are not dealt with as roughly as in white neighborhoods, that emboldens them, of course, and as a result you get more and more crime, which, again, as a result, causes more and more poverty. In other words, media propaganda videos such as this and constant focus on police brutality on black people impoverish non-white communities. What an irony.
What exactly are white people superior at?
Making us believe that we don't matter.
So you believe you don't matter? Oh no, you do believe you matter. Well then, we're not very good at making you believe things then, are we? You fucking inconsistent retard. Just get your shit together.
Believing that they're superior.
Feeling superior.
Thinking they're superior.
Why do all these people have an inferiority complex? What is wrong with them? Stop watching Wise, TYT, CNN, or any other trash media that they're gobbling into. Get off of Twitter, get off of Facebook, maybe even off of YouTube, and pamper yourself with some real life for once. You know, go meet actual white humans. Creatures with a pulse, you know? Unreal.
Thinking that they're superior.
Thinking that they are superior.
You know what's considerably more prevalent among whites than feelings of superiority? Feelings of guilt. Do you think your line of thought, the one adopted by the most prevalent public voices, has anything to do with that? The line of thought that says only white people can be racist, that only white people are the beneficiaries of racial privilege, that the oppressed cannot be the oppressors, and they are the oppressors. And if they reject the label of oppressor, you accuse them of intellectualizing their oppression. If you think this line of thinking, that actively shapes public discourse and legal precedent, is less prominent than white supremacy, well, the only way I have to describe that is
Self-delusion.
Controlling the narrative.
For many of these interviewees, I'm willing to grant that they've been hoodwinked by an ideology that they don't see quite as malicious as it really is. Some of them, however, hit a bit too close to the mark for comfort.
Believing their own press.
Marketing of white superiority.
Our press and marketing say that if you are a white supremacist, you are lower than dirt. In fact, accusations of white supremacy are among the most potent weapons within the press's arsenal.
I kind of disagree with you there, Auntie. The press, yes, does condemn white supremacists, but it also deliberately promotes white supremacism. They claim in one breath that it is bad that white people are superior, while at the same time declaring pretty much unchallengedly that white people are superior in the first place. Let me make an example to showcase what I mean. If you were to ask me, what the French are good at, I could tell you they have, hands down, the crunchiest, tastiest bread I've ever tasted. It's superb. Now, I can dislike the fact that they put snails on it, but I can still value the crunchiness of their bread. This video does not have such a balance. All it is vitriol, the sort of disgust that you have towards politicians who enforce, for example, store-destroying lockdowns while getting illegal private haircuts. In other words, people you consider, for better or worse, superior to you, untouchable. The people who are making this video are hands down white supremacists. There is just no way around it. I know, it sounds depressing, but hey, look at all those people of color you see there. Do you see it? Yeah, the KKK was never as optically diverse as in 2020.
Whether you are Republican, whether you're Democrat, whether you're conservative, like, white people are really good at upholding white supremacy.
If you bake white supremacy into the condition of being white, then every position a white person can take is the white supremacist position. Exactly how do you expect us to escape from this paradigm? We could try not being white anymore, but last time I tried blackface, you got mad at me for that too.
How about claiming that, they are actually a whole separate race, when actually white DNA comes from the black female?
Okay, so if you don't want to delineate race, how do you know who's white and who's black? Fuck, maybe you don't, and that's how so many white people snuck into this video.
So what exactly are white people superior at?
Honey, lying, stealing, and cheating.
Manipulation.
Withholding information.
Lying.
Telling lies. What kind of lies? The lies of history.
Wakanda is real, for real, man. Not sure I can rely much on the US's average cut interviewee to tell me much about historical accuracy. Would they even manage to get the basic things right, like where the word slavery actually comes from? And which continent's religion of peace was primarily responsible for the procuration of said people, and therefore the propagation of said name? Probably not.
They say that history is written by the victor, but the victor could be replaced by the colonizer.
Oh, please tell me you believe in Yakub. Please tell me you believe in the evil black scientist that made white people 6,000 years ago. The rest of this video has been so depressing, I need something to smile at.
What are white people superior at?
Dentistry.
Conquering.
Imperialism.
Colonizing.
Colonialism.
Colonization.
Colonization. They might be better at that than us and everybody else, really.
I really don't have an objection to them saying this. White people were better at conquering the world. They did, during the time when everyone from everywhere was trying to conquer the world. What, do you think Africans and Asians were just appalled at the notion of conquest and would never stoop to such barbarity? No, everyone was trying to conquest everyone. That's how things were done, up until relatively recently on a historical timeline. Now white people have given up trying to take over the world through conquest and have moved on to trade unions. Anyway, just because your ancestors were worse at the thing everyone else was doing does not make them morally unreproachable.
They ballsy, they rose up all over the world, and they walk into everybody's house and says, oh, this is nice, I'm gonna take your shit. And they have no qualms about it. They can take anything, baby.
What exactly are white people superior at?
They're real good at violence.
Genocide.
Let me, back up your claim a little there. So, this is a world crime map from 2020. Doesn't look all that bad in the white countries over there in Europe, exception, of course, the usually diversity higher countries. It does, however, look pretty bad in South America, I gotta say, and not quite the best impression in Africa either. The only places that seem chill in Africa seem to be the places around the Sahara Desert down there. It seems pretty black. It could be either from lack of data or, the fact that just no one lives in a desert. But, that would just be unfair. Probably they're just super, super peaceful over there. Might be the secret location of Wakanda. Who knows? Now, you could say that crime isn't quite the same as violence, and that some places of white Europe look kinda bad, and you would absolutely be right. So, I got myself a bit of a different map, an older map, primas diversity hiring, and one that is focusing on violence only. And voila, white is an absolute weak egg. Totally dethroned by South America and Africa again. The only ones roughhousing a bit are the Russians. And they're half of them you can't even pass as proper white because they're Asian. Guys, we really have to up our violence game a bit.
It's like stealing people's lives just because they feel like it.
If you are white and you know this is happening and you say nothing, then you're a killer too.
There were several people who spoke out against the disproportionate per capita violence rate of the color which must not be named. And those people who were speaking out about it were banned one after another, after another, after another. You didn't want them. You cared more about the words others use to describe the group that you assign yourself to than you cared about the safety of your own brothers and sisters in skin color. To me, that says not much about America, because you don't represent America. It also doesn't say much about the people you pretend to represent. It does, however, say an awful lot about you, and nothing about that is good. That much is for sure.
You are adopting a whole philosophy that says it's okay to do this, and part of that philosophy allows you to be ignorant, right? And they're like, oh, I didn't know.
I'm so sorry. I thought my philosophy was to not impose myself upon others, that the more you use force, the less efficient the outcome is, and that voluntary interactions between people lead to mutually beneficial outcomes. I lived my life under this supposition, trying my best not to force my way on anyone. The worst thing I could do to someone would be to murder them, because that would be the maximum infringement upon their rights I could commit. And unbeknownst to me, for all this time, I was the worst kind of person. Because I did not adequately blame all the world's ills on a single genetic subgroup of person. How unforgivably malevolent of me. I don't know which category you fall into, whether hoodwinked or con artist. I just know that you're an abomination. You're an affliction on the world. You are a festering wound of a person. And I have little, if anything, good to say about you. But as far as I am aware, you are not a killer. I wouldn't call you a killer, because in that accusation there is the unwritten endorsement of stopping you, potentially through violent means, because that's how we stop killers. I certainly hope that's not what you're encouraging happens to me or people like me, because if it is, that all but guarantees that peaceful cooperation between the races will never happen. That's not a line in the sand you want to draw if you are genuinely worried about white supremacy.
And with that, I'm escaping. You can end this video yourself, Auntie. Be ashamed for showing me so many racists at once.
What exactly are white people superior at?
Taking what's not there. Taking shit.
Taking our ideas.
Copycat.
Spreading ideas is among the most productive activities you can engage in. Iterative innovation is the reason humans are the dominant species on Earth. Not only is this objection absurd, it's also hypocritical. Do you think you've not benefited from the ideas of white people? Fuck, do you think white people have benefited more from your ideas than you have from theirs? You are living in a fantasy land.
Gentrification.
Appropriating things that do not belong to them.
Could you take off the beret, please, before complaining about cultural appropriation? Please? It seems like the actual least you could do.
Taking over other people's cultures and making you believe that they invented it.
Do you believe we invented whatever thing you're accusing us of having stolen? Because if not, you can't say we're really good at making you believe things. Do you see the inconsistency in this accusation?
Maybe they're thinking of it as repurposing. It's like recycle and repurpose.
As my grandma would say, them white folk, they'll take it if you don't copyright it.
I don't care what your presumably dead grandma has to say on the subject. IP law is bullshit, and I'll take it anyway.
They are very good at destruction of land, destruction of people, destruction of humanness.
Do you think whites can at all be credited for any preservation of humanness? Maybe some scientific or medical advancements that have been widespread and affecting and improving the quality of life that people of all races all over the world enjoy?
What exactly are white people superior at?
White people are not superior with anything.
Nothing.
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 There's nothing. Nothing.
I don't believe that they're superior in any way, shape, or form.
So were all those other black people white supremacists? Because they had answers to that question. I guess Iseth was right.
Just because our skin color is different, you're no better than me, you're no smarter than me. No superiority there.
No, I am better and smarter than you. You're right that it has nothing to do with skin color, it's that I didn't make an ass of myself to enrich knockoff BuzzFeed. Fuck this gaggle of idiots, fuck the people who organized and produced this abortion of a video, and most of all, Merry Christmas, everyone. Special thanks to Isethoriginal for willingly embarking on this journey with me and obliterating her public image in the process. Both her and my social media links are in the description box below. Do subscribe and follow to us both. We're both great. Especially her, though, because she makes videos and I waffle about for 11 months at a time like a dick. Well, that's me done for the year. Nothing left to do but kick back with some eggnog, and hope that 2021 is better than 2020. That's not a high bar to clear. I believe in you. Oh God. Oh God, what is that? No, not this year. No, don't take my Christmas merriment away when we're back.